Good afternoon, Jake Thorne here. Hey, if you've followed our Facebook page, you know that we are really big proponents of selecting animals for improved reproduction, particularly focusing on some genetic areas. However, another really important component of optimizing your lamb crop is management, and specifically nutrition. And so I wanted to come to you today from out in the pasture because I have a few points that I wanted to remind you of. These aren't new things that we've talked about. Actually, many of our other videos on this page actually allude to this, but this is just a reminder how important some of these strategies during breeding and lambing can be for increasing your lamb crop. So I wanted to show you a case study that we actually just recently worked with a set of sheep, and we ultrasounded some ewes here this winter. And what you'll see here across the bottom are the different condition scores of those ewes. So at the time, not only did we ultrasound, but we collected a BCS on those ewes. And just a reminder, in sheep, condition is scored on a scale of 1 through 5. 1 as being the thinnest, 5 as being the heaviest. And you can see here that all the ewes in this flock were either a 2 on up to a 3.5. And really the majority of the ewes in this flock were at a 2.5 and a 3. Now, what the blue bar represents is their expected lambing percentage. So during that ultrasound, we counted the number of fetuses that we were carrying. And what really popped out once we got all this data together and put it in this chart is that those ewes that were carrying extra flesh had a much higher expected lambing percentage. And really what this probably tells us is that these females were in better flesh leading into breeding. They had a higher ovulation rate, and as a consequence, they were carrying more fetuses at this time when we scanned them. Now, that alludes to the importance of nutrition early on, but that doesn't end there. The story doesn't end there. Obviously, we're all dealing with pretty heavy drought conditions here in West Central Texas and across the West. It doesn't take much to look out here and see just how brown and dry it is. But it's really, really important that we maintain the condition on these females despite the low pasture quality of them right now, because as we all know, lambs and kids too are worth so much money right now. Anything we can do to increase their survival and get those lambs to weaning and payday is really going to be important. And so this is a figure from Australia. This is some data from the Ewe Lifetime Management Program. This is data that was collected over many, many years, many thousands of ewes, and so this is really some good information. And what this chart is lamb survival rate, and this is lamb survival out to 48 hours, so neonatal survival, and it's separated out by the ewe's condition at lambing. And as you can see, particularly for single carrying lamb or ewes that are just carrying singles, really their condition score, yeah, there's an increase in survival rate, but it's not dramatic depending on the condition of that female. However, for those ewes that are carrying twins, that survival rate of those lambs is really, really impacted by just how much flesh the mother has. As you can see, let's say a 3 to a 4, the survival rate is up to 75-80% versus 2.5 like we had in some of those other ewes in that flock. The survival rate can be down to 55 up to 70%. And so really maintaining that condition on those twin bearing ewes is really important. And so what you actually seen behind me are a set of half of those ewes, and those are the single carrying ewes. And we're only supplementing them about an extra pound every day, in addition to some of the dry grass and dry forage that they're getting out on pasture. And you can see that they're actually still in pretty good flesh. They're in that 3 condition score that's really a target for those single carrying ewes. Now, the twin bearing ewes, we sorted those off and we put them in a different pasture, and we're able to give them a little extra feed. We're giving them another pound of feed on top of that pound that the singles are getting. So they're getting actually 2 pounds. And it's really important to get them sorted off because, first of all, particularly during late gestation, they're a lot bigger. They maybe don't have quite the energy to get in there in the feed line when we're putting out that feed. Sometimes they get pushed out by those single carrying ewes who just feel a little bit better, and not everybody is getting what they need to. So we sort them off, we give them a little bit more. We're not wasting extra feed, I guess maybe wasting is not the right word. We're not providing extra feed that's really not adding any benefit if we were to feed these extra feed these single carrying ewes anymore. And so I just wanted to show you really quick too. This is just a supplement that we're using. This is a corn whole cottonseed mixture. It's by weight, 70% corn, 30% whole cottonseed. This is a pretty high energy ration, which is really important. The other thing about it is it's fairly low cost compared to some other TMR or mixed rations. We're paying about $300, $350 per ton. And so you think about this, let's just think about this from a mathematical standpoint. This feed is costing us about 20 cents per pound. And those twin bearing ewes, they're getting an extra pound, so we're spending an extra 20 cents on those ewes. And let's say we did that for 60 days. That extra money that we're spending on those ewes is going to more than pay back if we can increase the survival of those lambs by 20 or 30%. Just 4 or 5 lambs is going to pay for the feed for the 40 ewes that are going to be in this twin bearing pasture. And so obviously those are assumptions, and those are details that you need to work out in your own operation. The availability of feed, what the costs are, the feasibility of splitting ewes up. But I really implore you to think about that really hard and think about the ways that you can improve the survival of those lambs through nutrition by body condition scoring, ultrasounding, and then treating those animals depending on what that information tells you. So hopefully this is beneficial to you. It brings back some information. If you're interested in learning more about condition scoring, we've got a video on our Facebook page from a couple years ago. We'll post the link in the comments of this video just as a reminder of how to score those ewes and how to use that type of information. So hopefully thanks, and hopefully you have a good day.